The people who are like, oh, you know, EU, all dirty foreigners, immigrants. But fundamentally, capitalism is we want to make sure more immigrants can come here who are more likely to take your jobs. Whereas, you know, people who come over here, they're immigrants, and those are nasty. So it's that there is this. Why the heck can't I get away with saying that immigrants shouldn't come into our country? America, shut the fuck up with your racist.
He passes and doesn't pass it. He gives out an executive order banning immigrants because what you might do is say, oh, well, you see, all these immigrants coming into the country, they doesn't like it when you talk about immigrants. The right doesn't like it when you talk about immigrants. I genuinely am someone.
And the fact that, you know, the immigrants that we do have are adding to. I don't really give a shit about, you know, these idiots going, oh my god, the immigrants! You know, because I'm looking at the global situation saying, yeah, that's totally wrong and that's racist against immigrants, yeah. Almost like the idea that somehow Muslims are turning up in Britain and it's illegal. You'll make being an immigrant, being a terrorist, well, yeah, being a terrorist is illegal for fairly good fucking reason. Just people who are immigrants into the country, and that because Trump said that's bad, and the European Union is by far the smaller. The immigrants from European Union countries is fucking ridiculous. This whole anti-immigrant stance, like, you know, are we Celts? Are we Picts? Are we Romans? Is corporatism stoking the fires of you know, racism and saying, immigrants. That's very, very aliens who are illegal immigrants into Britain, trying to break through and committing genocide. Right? That's the reason that being the illegal immigrants and refugees and bankers, they're saying, foreigners, blame the immigrants. And now we have, you know, the good vote UKIP, because UKIP can solve everything by getting those damn immigrants out of our country. And maybe that's it. I'm not a Danes journalist, I'm not a woman, I'm not an immigrant, and I'm not black. I am, however, poor. As in, literally, the government at you because I don't like you because you say gun bad. You say gun bad, you say immigrant good, me must hurt you. Well, I say, for example, is an inspiration, an example of the American dream, an immigrant who suffered such misfortune and wrote his way out of you know, poor and disabled, and the immigrants who, you know, had some help from the state to not die. And right-wing being, you know, protectionist and blaming immigrants, when actually that's not the thing taking away jobs. What's taking away jobs is automation. It's just that the jobs aren't going to immigrants. The jobs are going to machines. Because here are fucking bastards saying that we need to kick out immigrants. Saying that, oh, don't you dare pick on us. You're being in America and you are complaining about immigrants. Dudes, you're the fucking immigrants! You are blaming the poor, we're blaming the disabled, we're blaming immigrants, we're blaming the fucking EU, we're blaming UKIP of we are against immigrants but we're not racist is we want to make sure more immigrants can come here who are more likely.
Native American nationalism, American immigrant nationalism, white, white.
If you voted to leave because you wanted to get the immigrants out, then you're a cunt. You're a cunt, and I hope I never fucking meet you.
Good for the economy because they're cheaper, right? Illegal immigrants are good for the economy because you don't. Various different things that they have previously relied on are being eroded by immigrants. Quite frequently, the community. She was created as a gift based on the immigrants to Choice World and sort of volunteered to be yours. Well, I've tracked down the original.
Spaniards, I will get rid of the immigrants. Or actually, no, the tide is turning. The tide is turning. Actually, you know what? The Tories are right.
Accurately tell the perspective of a Mexican immigrant who's trans, and it is people from other countries, third world countries, who are being oppressed. It is immigrants who want to be recognized and
so the whole immigrants are a massive problem, people have got a point, but they're still stupid.
His wives have been immigrants, and his family is also an immigrant. It's also an immigrant family to America. American immigrant nationalism, white American immigrant nationalism, Hungarian nationalism, Finnish
going to make the situation that they are trying to stop worse by ensuring that the immigrants who do come here are more likely to actually fucking.
And they were talking about the need for all these immigrants to have cheap labor.
And that you do not demonize. You do not say that all the immigrants are a problem. That you do not say all of the black people are a problem. That
they're legal immigrants. In many cases, they're not even immigrants. They are British.
What do we do about these immigrants? What do we do about these immigrants? I tell you what we do. We build a great big fucking wall. What do we do about these immigrants
in America, right? It just is, right? The immigrants, immigrants and fucking 5-year-old who looks like a fucking horse's ass, and who hires illegal immigrants and pays them a fucking pittance, and
okay, and we very much need immigrants to keep our National Health Service running, and because of machines. You're not just competing with immigrants, you're also competing with people who are, the far right will cry and scream about, immigrants taking our jobs, and yet they have no issue with the fact
disappearing. That's why they're blaming the immigrants, right? Because they're noticing that the ratios.
You can hate me. You can rant and rave about feminism and about all these immigrants coming into our country. You can rob. Then nobody would be complaining about immigrants. In fact, they'd be saying, come over here, come in your droves. We need more in Britain who are like, oh, fucking immigrants coming over here, stealing our jobs. God, we've got the Tories again. They're not doing anything.
Restraining and transporting people that they suspect of being immigrants here illegally, right? Sure, we watch out for radicalized. Well, you see, we had to shoot that immigrant because it turns out they were radicalized. Oh dear! There are immigrants and refugees coming from countries with cultural perspective.
Refugees! immigrants, rawr, you want to do taxes, rawr, you know. He kind of, he
keeps blaming this or that group, and it's like, neoliberals, immigrants, Muslims, racists, and it's
oh God, we've got the Tories again. They're not doing anything about these immigrants coming over here. Now my benefits have been cut. I know. Ooh, look.
There's gonna be a lot of drastic changes to society, and I am not talking about fucking immigrants. It is
keeping out the fucking immigrant foreigners who are coming over here and stealing all of our jobs.
Americans aren't actually Native Americans, so you're all fucking immigrants anyway. See immigrants coming into the country, and they'll see immigrants, refugees coming into the country, and they will want to.
People don't believe this shit because they still think, oh no, it's all down to immigrants. And one thing
we all decide to shut ourselves off and say, bye, immigrants, and like set up machine gun encampments, right? There's gonna be a point
to pretend to be right wing and just be like, oh yeah man, all those immigrants, get them the fuck out of this country. Without relying on the whole fucking immigrants thing, because genuinely robots are a bigger problem than immigrants. Like, what do we do about these immigrants? What do we do about these immigrants? I tell you what we do. We build a great. They are making it so that now, if you want a job, not only are you competing with immigrants, not only are you competing with the fact that jobs.
Nobody would have given a shit. Like Mexicans and immigrants, they'd be annoyed, but you know, we're like men. We don't care.
Knowing that there are people who will be very gleeful that, yes, we are keeping the immigrants out, and shit like that.
Because that's what the Daily Mail did. That's who are complaining about immigrants now. It's an invasion, weapon.
I tell you what we do. We build a great big fucking wall. What do we do about these immigrants? Well, we stop bombing Syria. And we for free as internships and volunteering. And so yes, in that situation, immigrants coming into the country doing jobs is gonna
America and voted for Trump because, well, you know, it's those damn immigrants, and they come over that fucking they
about the bloody immigrants. Okay? The left doesn't like it when you talk about immigrants. The right doesn't like it when you talk about. There will be no amnesty for illegal immigrants.
Bombastic and marvelous. So many great lines, like, you know, immigrants, we get the job done.
It's very, very convenient. But then UKIP comes along and he's like, EU immigrants, and they stop TTIP.
Happen, like the National Guard have been rounding up immigrants. Not good. Or at least it seems like they were.
All kind of lying the fact that essentially all of the immigrants end up down south because that's where the fucking illegal immigrants and refugees and immigrants from other countries are good for the economy. It's because
yeah, we're gonna have the House of Immigrants and Refugees just to make sure you don't transported under, you know, kind of as an immigrant facing, you know, all kinds of horrible hostilities and like
them the fuck, just get them out. They shouldn't be here, fucking immigrants. Like, I know what you think, but really, all we need to do is just kick out these fucking immigrants and everything will be fine. No, he's conservative. He isn't going to do that. What is
immigrants? Dudes, you're the fucking immigrants! You are the immigrants who went in to fucking America and committed genocide!
we call out UKIP for being racist because, you know, they talk about immigrants in a controlled fashion. To some extent, we can accept the immigrants from Africa, right? Because, well, not from Africa, but we can accept it. We can.
Seeing that there is a threat from immigrants. And if you are in this echo chamber of Daily Mail and Fox News,
for people earning over a certain amount, we will shit on the poor and the immigrants. We will repeal this fucking bad. Okay, they can be as benevolent as possible to immigrants if they are standing against being part of a immigrants and refugees who typically say come from countries which are tackle Islamophobia. I have tackled fear of immigrants and refugees, and I have tackled transphobia. So now let's. So last night a thing happened in Sweden, and a whole load of immigrants are pouring into the country, and they're completely fucked up and ways that we don't have, you know, massive stories of like American immigrants coming over saying, please, please.
Carefully planned out. Well, you see, we must concentrate all these immigrants into this camps because they might be radicalized.
The fuck away. So that means more refugees, more immigrants, okay? Because holy fuck, nukes, you can't. So everybody needs to be evacuated out of Syria. And
Truly great is if America is truly great, then it will stand a billion trillion immigrants coming into the country from a billion trillion different
wealthy motherfucker talking about them damn immigrants coming over here taking our jobs. Shoot the fucker. If enough people do that,
is getting rid of jobs and going, yeah, you're totally fucking right about the immigrants. Totally not all the self-scanning machines and, you know.
They live in areas that have gotten a certain amount of, you know, say, Polish immigrants or Polish communities, and they're okay with that. That it is all the fault of the people who are poor and disabled and immigrants. I'm willing to take you laughing at me to just.
Got the man who hires illegal fucking immigrants whilst shitting on them to win votes. Muslims, or you hate those damn Mexicans and those damn immigrants, right? Unless you are a racist, it's not gonna affect you. Cadres, and you know, you got different immigrant nationalities or whatever around the world who
suffering a special kind of persecution. That immigrants are a problem, that refugees are a problem, that Muslims are a problem. Saying, no, we will refuse to replace anybody who with immigrant labour, people who might conceivably want to work.
Alien nation. We have the White Cliffs of Dover. We get immigrants. America, you share a great border with
trans people and on the same level as people who sort of African immigrants to America, and you know,
and still going away, and there are no more immigrants. What the fuck? Yeah.
They are like Nigel Farage saying, the right thing to do is to blame all the immigrants. Then we can say, you're a stupid signpost, I'm not going to vote for you. To vote for a party that says no more immigrants, or you know, an immigration system like America, like Australia.
You've got the left-wing poor who will sort of see immigrants coming into the country, and they opinion that the reason we are seeing so much anti-immigrant sentiment is basically due to the fact that people, and yes, it makes a difference if you are an immigrant from, say, Russia or Poland or some
people are the very same people who are like, we should get rid of all of the immigrants. They can be sent to these little archipelagos.
Trump married an immigrant who worked illegally. Because Trump is a creepy ass motherfucker. You hate him.
UKIP people will be just like, yes, immigrants, you know, whereas Scots will be just like, fucking Westminster, we need.
Didn't actually affect the countries where immigrants had actually caused terrorist issues in America.
Are stirring up the racial tension, are stirring up the hatred of the immigrants, are saying, oh, these people coming over from
fucking, they come over the bloody border, and it's like, you are an immigrant to fucking America! But it's because you're white, and then
the cause, and certainly a lot of people seem to think the immigrants are the cause. But, you know, there's a fuck ton of evidence and say, no, but guns are really awesome because of blah, 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 blah. No, but immigrants are really horrible because of blah, 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 blah. So, we are living in an age where we need immigrants. We need robots. We need people for an independent United Kingdom without constantly talking about the bloody immigrants. Okay, the left does
the fantastic lines in the musical is immigrants, we get the job done, right? Which is fantastic, right?
Right, and so it's this weird thing of immigrants are stealing our jobs, but the shock faded and they had to deal with immigrants. Tons of beautiful, submissive women turning up on their borders, willing to do anything to be allowed.
To properly vet and make sure that immigrants coming into the country are not a danger is to just keep them. And, sort of go, immigrants, you're all rapists, fuck you. Right? Nobody would have given a shit. Right? Nobody would have given a shit. Like,
the reason it's good for the economy to have immigrants in the country is because these are people coming into the country.
They aren't illegal immigrants. They're legal immigrants. In many cases, they're not even immigrants.
Weird, insane logic of these immigrants coming over here taking our jobs. They need to be better skilled so they are better able to come over.
Basically, all the jobs that, all these immigrants do, which Britons won't do, won't be done.
It's one of these things that, when you look into the statistics of it, like, immigrants are beneficial to us, They put more slugs that are just, they want to believe that immigrants are just going to make things worse and they're a drain on the resources.
There are so many lines in it that just are amazing and like, immigrants, we get the job done. And
doing its job. Okay? The reason immigrants coming into the country means you don't have a job.
You'll find it in the true job-stealing immigrant, the machine. Technology will save us from the death of capitalism and bring about the
assault and then essentially turn labels against other labels. Poor against immigrants. Disabled against poor. Dying because there isn't enough money to afford food. And so it's not just immigrants who are taking your jobs, it's graduates. Donald Trump is basically saying, we're gonna get rid of all immigrants and we're gonna fuck them up, and it's just like...
We'll still be Britain if we take in 1 trillion immigrants from 1 trillion different countries. America will still be America. We may disagree on why it is shitty. You may think that it is the immigrants who are taking their jobs, whereas I am, looking at perspective from what little I can gather.
I certainly am not a fan of anti-immigrant stances. Because I'm looking at the global situation saying, yeah, there's fucking immigrants because we fuck them up. But, it's a fact, I do think that we should just suck it up and just accept the immigrants. I mean, one of the things that I have been thinking about is, so in conclusion, yay immigrants, but watch America, because if it turns into a war, we need the NHS, but yeah, we need the NHS, and we need immigrants to keep the NHS running. And back on topic. Enriched society, to mean that the old people can be supported, we need immigrants. So all of these younger countries that are still in turmoil.
I find it funny, incidentally, that I have a cousin who is an immigrant to America and voted for Trump because, well,
there was that when a bunch of immigrants, a bunch of refugees raped a load of people in Germany. Do you know what the German
America, if it takes in 100 trillion immigrants from 100 trillion different countries?
Who are voting for a party that is all about making sure that immigrants who come to this country are going to be more skilled and thus more likely to take your job. An immigrant. There's also an immigrant family to America. I mean, that's, excusing the whole point that, that